Hey everybody out there on YouTube, this is your girl Empress Akasha coming at you from the DD Norales channel, aka Perennial Key, aka Emperor Junior Lion. I'm just coming to you today to give you guys a little bit of information about palmistry. I read tarot and I do palmistry as well. And this is a great video for somebody who would like to learn the basics of palmistry and just know a little bit more about the art. So for anybody who's interested in maybe even doing their own palm readings on friends or family members, this will be a great video for you to watch. So I'm going to start here. These are pictures of my palm. I didn't have anybody to volunteer their palm today to take a picture, so I just did mine. One thing that I will tell you is that palms vary. So some palms you're not going to see 3 lines. Some palms you're only going to see 1 big line. Some palms you're just going to see all these crazy different lines. So just know that no 2 palms are the same, especially 2 different people's, or even on your hands. So your hands are going to vary as well. If I go from left to right, the left hand, some people attribute that to being the past, but it's different among different palm readers, and the right being that of the future. If I were to look at it like that, then from looking at my palm, my past is typically the same as my future hand, which I don't necessarily look at my palm like that. The way that I read my palm is just about destiny and fate. The destiny hand, in my opinion, is your left hand. The destiny are the one that you don't write with. The destiny hand are things that were supposed to happen in your life. The fate hand, that is your right hand, or the one that you write with, is the things that have happened along the way. So if you look at my hand here, it isn't really that much different. There are key differences in the two, which I will explain with all these little highlighted markings, but it's not really that different. So you're going to see differences, yes, in your palms, but it's not going to be so different that it looks like a completely different hand. So if I go from my left hand, if I start here, if you can see these yellow highlighted markings on the lines, I'm just going to describe it to you, starting at the first line closest to the thumb. The first line closest to the thumb is the lifeline. That line can vary in length, can vary in thickness, can vary in straightness. Some of them are cropped, some of them are jagged, some of them are wavy. But typically, people tend to think that your lifeline, if it's short, or if it's long, that means you're going to have a really long life, or if it's short, it's going to be a really short life. And that's not necessarily true. The way that you determine the length of your life isn't necessarily on your lifeline. It does determine things like accidents, incidents that happen in your life to shape who you are, but it doesn't really do good at telling you how long you're going to live. Somebody who has a short lifeline would be someone who is very focused on one area in their life and really devote one area of their life to one particular thing. And they're very strong-willed, very self-motivated, very just compassionate, not compassionate, very passionate person about whatever they're doing in their life. For someone who has a long lifeline, that just shows a very active life. That shows somebody who is going to have a variety of different maybe friends, a variety of different professions, a variety of different things that they're going to focus their life on. So they're not somebody who's going to be maybe very good at finishing things, or there's somebody who is just so over here and over there that they have so many things going on at one time. They don't really have the capabilities to concentrate on just one thing at one time, and that's just the way that some people live their lives. And that's your lifeline. So your lifeline is the one that's typically closest to your thumb. It most of the time, in most hands that I've seen, it is long, but that varies, like I said, from hand to hand. And it just describes events in your life, things that have shaped who you are, maybe even some of your family relationships, we will go into a little bit later. The second line right above that lifeline is your headline. The headline typically speaks of education. People who have a long headline, like you see mine here, if I was looking at this palm and reading it, that person, in my opinion, would be somebody who is somewhat of a dreamer. somebody who has a very vivid imagination, and really has very good ability to concentrate, learn new things, grasp new concepts. Somebody who has a shorter headline is somebody who maybe have a very short attention span. Somebody who has a wavy headline is somebody who can't concentrate on certain things, and even in school they may have said that they had a type of learning disability. So those are what your headline is. Typically education, the way you learn, the way you grasp things, but it's also how you think about life, how you perceive people, how you think about your relationships with people as well, and how you interact with others. And then it also shows your talents, your attributes, and things like that. But then that's a better description on a different video. If you look up at the line closest to my 4 fingers at the top, that is the heart line. That line signifies your relationships, how you perceive love, and how you are emotionally, your emotional health and things like that. Somebody who has a long love line is somebody who is going to have a very compassionate attitude, somebody who maybe has a very good love life. And then the love line, or the heart line, is very good at determining what kind of person they are, if they fall in love easy, if they don't really fall in love very easily, if they're very picky, if they're somebody who is very bad, have very bad luck in love, or somebody who's very needy. So it just really, like I said, depends on the variations of the palm. My palm being long right here, if you can see it, having that long heart line. I don't have a break on this hand, the left hand, but I do have a break on my right hand, which we'll go into later. But when I'm looking at this, and if I was reading it for somebody else, since I see that this line somewhat starts right here in between the index and middle finger, that shows me that this person can fall in love very easily, has a tendency to fall in love very easily, and has a lot of good luck in love. There are some emotional disturbances on the hand. If you see this circle, this black circle on the heart line, that just shows that that is a island, it's a bubble, and that shows that there's somewhat of an emotional distress there at that current moment in time, and just having some emotional disturbances because of relationships with people. And it doesn't necessarily even mean intimate relationships, but it does just go into how you perceive love and how you think about love and how you retain it as well. And if you can see, I have a lot of little red markings on my hand. These straight red lines, especially in the center of my palm, and I just wanted to show the variations between the two. I don't have that many little red markings on my right palm as I do my left, and I put that there just to show you somebody who is under tremendous amounts of stress is going to have a lot of little markings on their hand. Even if they don't think that they're stressed out, it's a lot of different stressors there that are showing up on their hand. So a lot of fine lines on somebody's hand signifies that they are depressed, or not depressed. They're going through a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress, a lot of things are going on in their life right now that is just causing it to show up on their hand. And if you can look right above my heart line, there's 2 little red markings there. That is your attachment lines. Those are your relationship lines. So it goes and shows you how many long-lasting relationships that you have. These are intimate partners. Some people call them marriage lines. I call them attachment lines because it just shows significant relationships that happened in your life that were so significant that they showed up on your hand. It shows the nature of the relationships. It shows if the relationships ended, if maybe even a partner died. So those are the lines that you would look for to signify how many marriages you're going to have, how many successful relationships you have had or are going to have, or if your current relationship is going to be successful. Your current relationship is always the one at the very top of your attachment line, so just make sure that you're looking at the right one. Sometimes they're not directly on your palm. They can even be extended up to your pinky finger. So when you're looking at your attachment lines, just look very closely on that. If you see the orange lines on my right hand, these orange lines here are your child lines. These shows how many children you have the capabilities of having if you want to have that many children. As you can see, I have 6 lines on my left hand, and it just signifies how many children you've had. Sometimes it signifies miscarriages, abortions, children who didn't come to fruition, or just children that you're attached to. So these might not even be your biological children. It could be a child in your family, a close relative, or even one of your mate's children. So these lines show up with the children that are significant enough in your life to show up on your hand and that you're attached to. This circle right above the children line are another way to indicate how many children you're going to have. If you really can't see it here, I wish I had a better view of it, but it just shows that if you have an island or 2 islands or however many islands you have, those are the number of children that you're supposed to have. But it varies too, so there's a lot of different indicators of how many children you're going to have on your hand. So just don't look at just one line. Look at all the little lines that can signify children on your hand. If you look at if you look down at the bottom, this blue circle, there's a triangular shape with little lines going through it. That's the Neptune line. I just wanted to put attention on that, because this Neptune line, it speaks of a couple of different things. But typically, for a woman, if she ever wants to know if she's pregnant or not, the little Neptune lines will have little lines in them, little straight lines or crisscross lines, and that just shows that you're pregnant. And it'll be a little bit of a blush or purplish color depending on the skin tone. So if you ever want to know if you're pregnant, ladies, you can look down at the bottom and it will show you. Okay? If we move over to my right hand, there's a lot of different markings on this hand as well. We're going to just start off with these circular objects at the top of where my forefingers are. There's one also by my thumb, and then one on the very far end of my hand. If you look at these are what we call mounds on your hand, and these mounds have different attributes to them. I'm not going to go into that in this video, but they all signify a different attribute. If the mound is higher, if it's lower, if it's smooth, if it dips, it just signifies what the attribute of that is. All your fingers mean they have correlations to certain signs, and we'll get into that in another video. And I was just showing you that these highlighted purple areas in between my fingers, it just shows you what kind of person you are. It shows if you're a trusting person. It shows if you're somebody who is maybe tight-fisted. If I could just give you an example, somebody who is typically very hardworking, somebody who is good with money, or very good with keeping up with their finances, and somebody who is a very loyal person is going to be very tight-fisted. They're not going to have a lot of gaps in their fingers, especially, let's say, if I wanted to break it down to you guys. Well, I am going to break it down to you guys. Between the middle and the ring finger, if there was a gap there, that shows somebody who is maybe a little bit bad at spending money, splurges their money, can't really keep hold of money very well. If somebody had a very big gap between their pinky and their ring finger, that shows that you have commitment issues. And then somebody who has a gap also in between their middle and their ring finger shows that you're a little bit lazy. You can be a little bit complacent, and you probably don't really want to work hard for everything in life. You just kind of want to hand it to you. The length in between your thumb and how close it is to your palm shows how trusting you are. If you're a very trusting person, if you're a very open person as well, it just shows that. So your hand is very good at showing you a lot of different things. If you guys look down there's 2 black circles, one on my heart line and one on my lifeline. The 2 circles signify breaks. Breaks usually are injuries. Breaks and these crosses, there's one cross, X if you want to call it an X, on my hand, and those signify injuries. But breaks also signify very stressful, de-stressing times. Maybe something that was so big in your life that just left you a really big impression on you for the rest of your life. So breaks signify exactly what it sounds like, a break. It can even be a mental break. Most people who have somewhat of a mental breakdown will have a very big break or a very big separation in their headline. But as you can see, I have it on my heart line, and then I also have one on my lifeline. And there have been incidences I did suffer with some very big accidents where I've almost died, so that's kind of funny that it showed up on my lifeline right there. And then on my heart line, yeah, I mean, people have been heartbroken before, so hey, it happens. And okay, if you guys look down at the bottom where my wrist starts at, there's 2 red lines there. That signifies your bracelets. Those are the bracelets that signify how long you'll live. I couldn't fit all of it into the picture, so you can't see all my bracelets, but bracelets typically account for 30 years. So you can just do an estimation based on the number of bracelets that you see on your arm. Okay, and these boxes here, there's boxes there on my lifeline. There's these black boxes. And these black boxes are boxes of imprisonment. These just, and what I mean by imprisonment, it doesn't mean prison or prison time or jail time. Sometimes it does. But most of the time it means that it was something in your life to have you boxed in, and it happened to you, and it's left so much of a big impression that it influenced you in your life, and it may put hindrances on certain aspects of your life, especially where they're represented from. And then it goes by the age, so I could tell by looking, if I were to count the age of my hand or when these happened. One happened when I was 5 years old, and then the other one happened around the age of 18 to 20 years old. And those things are true. I'm not going to go into that right now about what it is. If you look, there's also a triangle. A triangle on my hand, or anybody's hand, signifies a type of talent. Where the position is, it signifies if you're good at math, if you're good at writing, if you're good at creative thinking, artistic endeavors, things like that. It'll show up on your hand with these triangles and the formation that they fall under. These red lines on the far end of my hand, those are your travel lines. These show places that you can travel, where you're destined to travel, places if you should take trips there, you shouldn't take trips there, how long the trip is going to be, and even if it abruptly ends. So you have a lot of different areas and avenues on your hand to tell you a lot of different things about your life, and it's very interesting. So, I mean, if somebody ever wanted to send me their palm for a nominal fee, I'll break it down to you. I'll break it down to you and show you or tell you how it turns out, or what's going on in your life. The one thing I will say about your palm is, just like tarot, it does change. It doesn't change as frequently, but they do change, and it changes on a regular basis. So if you ever look at your palm, notice that you're gonna have things come up there that wasn't there before, and it's not gonna be the same thing. Maybe even a month from now, maybe 2 months from now, a year from now, your palm's going to always change and look different, because there's so many different things that are going on in your life for you to be going through, or just certain things that are going to happen, especially with this right hand, or the hand that you write with. It does show what things are going to happen to you if they haven't happened yet, depending on your age. I'll tell you the basis of the ages that go by your lines. Your lifeline is from 0 to the age of about 21. If you go above your headline, so I'm just saying, if I was going up in a straight line, that's over the age of 30. So once you pass the headline, that's over the age of 30. And then once you pass that heart line, that's 45 and beyond. So you can count ages that way. You can also count your ages on your lifeline as well. And one more thing, if you see this orange line on my right hand, then that line is your fate line. That is going to be strong. Some people don't have a strong fate line. Some people don't have a fate line at all. If it's strong, that means that your life is very determined by destiny. So that means that a lot of things that happen to you was meant to happen to you for a reason, and that's just what it is. So you can't really avoid certain things in your life when you see the fate line. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. That's just the truth. And if you see that red line going up my right hand, that is your and it's kind of green too. There's a green line that goes right there next to it. This is your health line. This just shows what kind of state of health you're in, and then it also signifies a couple of different other things, but we're going to go into that in a different video as well. I'm teaching you guys a lot. Palmistry is very, 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 very deep, so I hope you aren't getting overwhelmed by all this information. And then this green line right here next to my health line is the Apollo line, and some people have that, some people don't have it. The Apollo line is the line that shows how lucky you are, if you're good at finance, if you're good at gambling. So somebody who has a very prominent Apollo line is somebody who's very good at the game of chance, taking chances, taking risk takers. So it doesn't necessarily mean gambling with money. You're just very good at taking risk and those things being successful for you and not having a really bad or nasty outcome. Okay, and that's pretty much it. I don't see anything else here that I really want to describe to you. So if you guys have any questions, if you would like to get a palm reading, I can do more in-depth readings on a person if they decided to send me their palm. I do it via email and Skype. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Like I said, if you have any questions, leave it in the comment box below. If you have any other questions, you can also email me. I'm going to put my email address in the box below as well. So you guys have a great day. Empress out.